Today I'm going to talk a lot about the color wheel. This is part of a new series that I'm doing about color theory fundamentals, the different elements of color theory, and color theory along with the color wheel is a really great way to start understanding color mixing and being able to predict what you're going to be able to mix with 2 or 3 or more colors of paint. So this is a store purchase color wheel. It shows 3 primaries. We've got red, we've got blue, and we've got yellow as the 3 primaries. It also shows the secondaries. So you mix red and yellow together, you get orange, which is a secondary, yellow and blue, you get green, of course, and red and blue, you get purple, or it's labeled as violet. And then it shows the tertiary colors, which are if you mix a primary and a secondary. So basically you mix blue and violet, you get a blue-violet. You mix, let's see, yellow and green together, you get a yellow-green, so on and so forth. So it's really handy when you're learning how to color mix, and even a little bit later on when you're more of an intermediate, to use the different elements of this type of color wheel. Now you can see it has this little spinny middle, and it has quite a few different things printed on it. So it has down here the different values, starting from value 1, which is pure black, to value 10, which is pure white, and that is just really handy to have as guide available nearby when you're painting. And it also shows different colors that you can, if you, let's say you have red orange and you add blue, you're going to get this dark purple color. If you add white, this is approximately the color that you'll get. And remember, this is a guide. It'll depend exactly on your red orange that you have in your palette and your blue or your yellow or etc. This one also has some definitions on the front. I'm not going to go through them all, but there's 3 that I'll talk about really quickly. That tint is the color plus the white, tone is color plus adding some gray, and shade is the color plus adding black. Now I'm going to flip over. We're going to take a look at that a little bit more closely. So the back also has the primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries printed on here, and then it shows 3 colors here. So with the blue, this is the pure color, so blue straight out of the tube. Now tint, this shows the tint. Tint is the color plus some white. It shows the tone, so the color plus some gray, and it shows the shade, so blue plus some black. And it shows that throughout the color wheel. And again, approximation is just a guide. It's to help you understand when, you kind of want to get kind of a greeny yellow, you can take yellow plus a bit of black, so on and so forth. Now the other really handy thing on this side is this central piece right here. And you'll see it has different kind of triangles and squares. And this helps you choose a color palette that harmonizes together. So it has shows you what are complementary colors. So complementary colors are 2 colors that are the opposite side of the color wheel from each other. So blue and orange. So if you mix blue and orange together, that can be a really pleasing color combination. Now you could do split complementary. It's a little bit different. That's blue and yellow orange and red orange. Now, if you didn't want those colors, but you still wanted some sort of a split complementary, you just kind of spin it around and it tells you what the split complementaries would be. It also shows triad color combinations, tetrad color combinations as well. And I'm not going to go deeply into that as well. I'll do some future videos on different types of color combinations and why they're so pleasing, but it is a guide that you can use. So that's essentially the store-bought color wheel. It's really, really handy, absolutely useful to have. But what's also useful is doing your own color wheel, taking some colors that you have and seeing how they mix together. And it helps you see where the limitations are and helps you the limitations of a store-bought color wheel. And also kind of helps you understand how to use a store-bought color wheel as well. So I'm going to show you, I made this up on my computer. So this is the empty template. So it has room for, I'll just pop this on top, for of course the primaries, the secondaries, and the tertiaries. So you can see essentially it's the same number of colors. So now let's swap it out. This is the color wheel that I did. And I chose 3 primaries. You can see cadmium-free red, cad-free yellow medium, and ultramarine blue. And here they are just for a second. All artist quality colors, but you can use whatever you have. So again, I'll bring out the store-bought color wheel. And so this is the red. I chose these 3 colors because they are pretty similar to the primary colors that we learn in school. So it's kind of the basics. And we're generally taught, if you take the 3 primaries, you can mix any color. And we'll look a little bit further at this color wheel to see what colors we can really mix with the 3. So here's the red, here's the yellow, and here's the blue. So those are the only 3 colors that I actually used. This outer ring, I added some titanium white, and that's really helpful to see undertones, because sometimes when you've mixed a color, you don't necessarily know. It can be hard to identify, especially when you're a beginner or even an intermediate, to really understand what the undertones are and being able to identify undertones, like is it a red leaning blue or a green leaning blue. That can really help you understand what will happen when you mix another color with it. So this outer ring is a tint with titanium white. So I mixed blue and yellow together, and I got this green. It's not a very bright green because with these 2 colors, you're not going to get a bright green. So if you're looking for a bright green, these 3 colors aren't what you're going to be able to use. And this is part of the learning journey to understand how to use your colors and how to get the color that you want. So I mixed the blue and the red together, and I got this very, very dark muddy purple. And then I mixed the yellow and the red together, and this is the orange. And then I would mix the secondary and a primary to get the tertiaries, so on and so forth. Now, if you remember, on the color wheel on the back here, it had this complementary indicator that shows green is complementary to red. Spin this around, this little center bit. Blue-green, which is turquoise, is complementary to red-orange, so on and so forth. This color wheel, I decided would be a complementary mixing color wheel. So I took the blue and I took the orange, and I added more and more of each color to show how mixing varying amounts of the complementary color helps change. And when you mix 2 complementary colors together, they start neutralizing. So in this case, the blue, which is a quite vivid blue, the ultramarine blue, it gets dark very, very quickly. So if you want a really dark blue, you can take your ultramarine blue and a bit of red and a bit of yellow to make orange, and mix that together, and you get a really dark blue. And it gets darker and darker until it gets to the center, and then it starts getting more brown, and then back to being orange. And as I mentioned earlier, we're taught in school that blue, yellow, red, especially these similar versions to the blue, yellow, and red, are really the primary colors. You mix them all together, you get black. Now, we look at these colors in the middle here. So this is really the closest to black that I got. Did I get a true black? Probably not really. This one with the blues, probably the closest. But I didn't quite get there. That doesn't mean you can't get there. It's just when I was just mixing the complementaries, this is what I ended up with. And a lot of them are quite brown, especially on the side where it's warmer. You tend to get more browns. And then the side that has more blue, you tend to get kind of grayer colors, especially right around here. So the other thing that I learned from this is certain complementaries, you're never really going to get that dark. So this yellow-green and this, I believe this is red-violet, it's the lightest in the center here. We never really get dark. It's kind of a mid-value brown, these two. And that's just how some colors mix together. So again, doing your own color wheel can really help you learn how certain colors mix together and what you can really get. Now, the other myth, we'll call it, of color mixing that we learned in kindergarten, grade 1, is you can take red, blue, and yellow and get every color of the rainbow. Now, if you look at this, You can get a lot of colors, absolutely. You're definitely not getting every color of the rainbow. So with that said, I'm going to show you some older color wheels that I did quite a few years ago when I was first trying to learn, how my colors actually work together. And it can help teach. They're a much rougher looking, I will say. So this is pyrrole red dark, cadmium yellow medium hue, and phthalo blue green. Now, if you compare the colors that I got out of this, they're definitely different than what I got here. And that helps demonstrate that just changing out some of your red for a different red gives you different oranges, gives you different purples. This also is really helpful because it shows that you don't need to do a really fancy, nice, neat color wheel like I did with this template. You can just do a quick one. This is what I did after I finished a painting. I just threw this on here really quickly. I did the color mixes, and then these three in the middle are just kind of when I took all three colors. So I did a couple browns and I tried to get as close to black as possible. I'm going to show you a couple more. So I used alizarin crimson hue. This happens to be golden open version. Cad yellow medium hue and cobalt blue. And again, you get quite different colors than you did with the pyrrole red dark and the phthalo blue green. And also you get quite different colors than from this color wheel as well. Here's one permanent rose. I used cadmium lemon, which is a really bright yellow. Cobalt blue, again, gives you a completely different palette. So understanding that if you want a nice neutral scene, you might want to go with a red that's more like an alizarin crimson hue than a permanent rose. And I'm going to show one more. And this is quin magenta, cadmium lemon, and cobalt turquoise. So quin magenta is the red, cadmium lemon is the yellow. Now cobalt turquoise, that's actually a tertiary. So you can do color wheels that aren't just primary. You can do color wheels with any color, and just to see how they all mix together. So really, this is the red, even though it's a more purple leaning red, it's considered the red. And then everything's backwards here. So this would be the yellow. But this is blue-green, which is a tertiary. So you can learn about your color mixes, or what you can mix by using any of the colors on the color wheel. So that's getting to know the color wheel. Remember, it's a guide. I really encourage you to do some color wheels on your own. It's really handy to know how complementaries mix together. It's handy to know how different versions of red and yellow mix together to make different oranges, and so on and so forth. It's handy. I liked doing these ones because just trying to get to a black can be a good skill to learn as well. So good luck, have fun, try out doing some color wheels yourself, and get to know color theory a little bit more.